Hi guys, good morning. I hope you guys are well. I just want to give you guys some words of encouragement. I'm gonna come to you as like your big sister, little sister, your auntie, you know what I mean? Your auntie or your niece, So listen here. I'm gonna teach you guys something that God taught me a long time ago, and it has really stuck with me. And last night he also had to remind me. He said remember, and then I'm like, okay. Once he said remember, I already knew what he was talking about, But I want to teach you guys something. You have to react to certain situations with grace. You have to react to certain situations with grace. Oftentimes as human beings, we say to ourselves, I'm human. I make mistakes, or I'm human. I'm allowed to be sad. I'm allowed to react a certain way. And that's understandable. No one's taking that from you. No one's saying that you can't be hurt, you can't be depressed, or you can't be angry, or you can't be furious, you can't be annoyed. These are normal human reactions. It's all about how you respond to it. It's all about how you respond to it. It's all about how you choose to let things affect your emotions, and it's not just about, and here's the thing, the good thing about also being human is the fact that we can think before we react to things. We can think before we do things. Even though we don't choose how it affects us emotionally, because sometimes things hurt us. And when things hurt you, it's like you have no control over the things that other people do or what other people say. And if it hurts you and it hurts your heart, you have no control over how you feel. But at the same time, you do have control over when you choose to respond, when you choose to react, and how you choose to do it. Okay. The thing about us human beings, it's like, one thing about us is we have to understand something, that we get punished enough. We have no control over others, what others do, but most of the times we tend to let what other people do or other people say, we tend to let that control our emotions, to the point where there's a difference between having natural emotions for something and being emotionally hurt by something, and allowing someone else's decisions to control your emotions, to where now you're punishing yourself. You're doing the work for the person. Do you see what I mean? How is that fair to you that someone can hurt you, and then after they hurt you, you punish yourself? I'm going to give you some examples. When I think about reacting to things, I always think about how it's going to affect my kids in the end. Before I react to any situation, I think about how it's going to affect my kids. It's not just about, or how it's going to affect me. It's not just about, reacting to something and people twisting things. No, it's not just about that. It's about your mental health. If your mental health is affected, and mental health usually gets affected when the heart's affected, because the heart can affect the brain. Yeah, the brain operates the body, but the heart is a very important organ. The heart can make you start to think things. Do you get what I'm saying? The heart can make you go mentally crazy, or start to mentally feel like you're going to snap. You're going to snap, because the more heartache you experience, like, I can't take it no more. You get what I'm saying? Because not only do you have to think about it, but you have to feel it emotionally. And when you feel certain things, it brings anger, or it's painful, it's hurtful, right? So oftentimes I think about how it's going to affect my kids in the long run if I react a certain way. Most of the times, if you're going to even if you don't have kids, think about how it's going to affect you in the long run if you react a certain way. Most of the times when you go through things, you got to have enough discipline to pull yourself away. I'm going to give you examples. Like, for example, if something happens in the moment, someone texts you and you're so quick to text back, hold off for a bit. Before you text the person back, have enough discipline to say to yourself, okay, you know what? I'm not going to let this person control my emotions. Yes, I'm hurt, but you know what? I'm not going to let them have that control over me to where I react out of my character, or to where I do something that's going to affect me later on. So let me hold back for a bit. Let me wait 10 minutes before I respond. Let me calm down. Let me cool down before I respond. And then before you know it, 10 minutes pass, 15 minutes pass, your emotions are kind of back to normal. You maybe still be triggered, but guess what? Now you're not even thinking about responding anymore. Now it's kind of like, okay, I'm not even going to respond. It's not even worth it. Whereas if you respond in the beginning, you may have said something that you would regret later on. You get what I'm saying? So it's just about you're protecting your mental state and not punishing yourself for what other people do. Okay. And what I mean by punishing yourself, I'm going to use heartbreak as an example. When you go through heartbreak, people tend to punish themselves when they go through heartbreak. I'm going to give you an example. I can't speak a lot for men because I'm not a man. I don't know how men react to heartbreak. Everyone responds differently. But I can say something about women. When women go through heartbreak and they're broken emotionally, women will punish themselves. And they don't intentionally try to do it. It's just something that happens organically where it's like, okay, I'm heartbroken. I don't want to go out with my friends. I'm heartbroken. I'm going to watch movies. I'm going to overeat. I'm heartbroken or I'm not going to eat. So next thing you know, that woman is gaining a bunch of weight because she's heartbroken, or she's losing a bunch of weight because she's not eating because she's heartbroken. Her hair is falling out. She's no longer going to the gym. She's no longer working out. She's no longer taking care of herself physically. Okay, so now she's not taking care of the basic necessities when it comes to her mental health and when it comes to her physical health, right? And heartbreak can cause, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen to men, that happens to men a lot too, but I'm speaking from like a woman's point of view because I know how it feels like to be a woman because I'm a woman, right? So, yeah, so speaking from a woman's point of view, it's like when that happens, it piles up. It's like a snowball. Then that when that happens, then now you start to you no longer are doing you. Now you're losing your job because of the heartbreak. Now you're behind on bills because of the heartbreak, because it has caused you heavy depression because you have consistently sat in the heartbreak. What people don't understand is when you sit in heartbreak and you choose to dwell in it and you choose to feed it, it's a virus. You're feeding that virus. It's going to keep growing. And the more it keeps growing, it's going to affect everything else in your life like a domino effect, right? Handle everything with grace and don't punish yourself. That's what I mean when I say you're punishing yourself. Because why can someone go out of their way to hurt you? And because they hurt you and you had no control over what they chose to do, but because they hurt you, now you're punishing yourself. That person isn't losing sleep, you are. That person isn't losing money, you are. That person isn't emotionally, mentally sick, now you are. That person isn't gaining and losing weight, now you are. That person isn't up at night crying themselves to sleep, now you are. Do you get what I'm saying? So that person's allowed to hurt you, and on top of that, block your life, stop your life from progressing because now you're punishing yourself. You're doing exactly what they're doing to you, but you're doing it to yourself without even realizing you're doing it. Now, like I said, you're human. You can take days off. When I choose to react to certain things, I choose time frames to react to it. Sometimes we have no control over that. If we have to run to the bathroom and cry, run to the bathroom and cry. Okay, if you're in a public restaurant, run to it and cry. Right? Certain music that comes on in the stores will trigger me if I hear certain songs, and I'll run into the bathroom and cry. Like back in the day, I was like that. Now I'm not like that because what God taught me is you have to have grace, move with grace, and know when to react to certain situations. Now I can hold off heartbreak for the day. I can distract myself and stay busy. I can go to the gym and all of that. And then when I get home, if I'm sad or something later in the evening, I get out, drop on my knees and start crying to God about it. Do you get what I'm saying? Instead of letting it affect my whole day. At least I got everything done for the day. Now I can sulk to God. Now I can weep to the Father, and weep to Jesus, right? You just have to know when to let things affect you. And sometimes, like I said, you have no control over when it affects you, but you just have to have the discipline. Now, it's not easy. I know you're going to say it's easier said than done. It's not easy. But at the same time, the more you practice this discipline and the more you remember in your mind, respond with grace, react with grace, the more you're going to get used to it. So anything that the devil throws your way, you now know how to respond to it with grace. You know how to react to it with grace. And then not only that, but you have the discipline to continue your tasks throughout every single emotion you have. You can continue your tasks, and then you can take time away to heal a bit and then go back to it like nothing even happened. That takes a lot of practice and takes a lot of discipline. And one of the things that I notice when God says react to things with grace and respond to things with grace is one thing I tell myself, and it's not to toot my own horn, it's literally something that you guys can tell yourself too, and it's the truth. You have to remember who you are. You have to remember who you are. It doesn't matter what types of gifts you have, or even if you have gifts or what. Just remember who you are. If you're a good person and you have a good heart, and you don't mean nobody no harm, and you wish the best for everybody, and you know, like, your heart is golden, you have to remember that you're the prize in every situation. In the workplace, whether you're working for someone or whether someone's working for you, whether it's relating to your family, whether it's relating to a friendship, whether it's relating to a relationship, you have to remember that you are the prize. It's not to say the other person is the prize. No, they could be the prize too. But like I said, you're responsible for you. You know who you are. You know what type of heart you have. You know your characteristics. You know your traits. You know your personality. You know your motives and your intentions for other people. You get what I'm saying? So if you know who you are as a person and you're confident that you're a good person, you're the prize. So because you know you're the prize, why punish yourself for the sake of someone else? Because of how someone else chose to treat you. Because of how someone else chose to speak to you, whatever it is. You have to remember that in your head. Like, wow, you know what? I don't deserve what they said to me. I don't deserve the way they treat me, but I'm going to react to the situation with grace. I'm going to respond to the situation with grace. I'm not going to let the situation affect my mental health. Yes, it's emotionally hurting me, but at the same time, why am I going to let that stop me from completing my tasks? Why am I going to let that stop me from working out? Why am I going to let that stop me from, from doing my routines? Why am I going to let that cause me to overeat or to starve myself? Why am I going to let that cause me to let myself go? Why am I going to do you see what I'm saying? Yes, I'm going to cry. I'm hurt, but I'm going to continue my day, and I'm going to cry and hurt at a specific time. You have to remember who you are. When you remember who you are and you're confident in who you are, what other people say and do to you won't affect you the way the devil wants it to affect you. It won't. At the end of the day, remember something. God always vindicates the good-hearted people. At the end of the day, you have to remember something. What goes around always comes around in life. So how someone else treats you, you have to remember that God is keeping an eye on everything. God sees the back end of everyone's story. God sees everything, right? And because God sees the back end of everyone's story, God will, if you're a good person, God will make sure that that person will feel what it is that they've done to you. He will make sure that person understands what they have done. It may not be in the moment, but it will be later on. You just have to focus on you. And you have to remember that God will also bring other people in your life that's going to love you, that's going to see your worth, that's going to see you as beautiful, handsome, whatever. But don't punish yourself because of how someone else chose to treat you. Because like I said, we naturally do that as human beings. We punish ourselves because something mentally affects us and emotionally affects us. And we're doing what they want us to do, or we're doing what the devil wants to happen. And we have to not let that happen. Remember, responding to things with grace also means how you treat yourself. Treat yourself with grace too. Okay? I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.